Hello, YouTube. There is a big move coming, and we want to ask ourselves whether or not the support is going to hold. Because if it is, we could be heading higher. How high is going to be up to the market in terms of how low we could go? We could go back down to 360s, 350s, or maybe even to new lows. So we heard some commentary from the Fed today. Lael Brainerd did speak, and we have to pay attention to her because I am noticing that fear and greed and the emotional cycle keeps repeating over and over. A lot of people yesterday saying, "What did I say? I told you so." In fear and greed now is right back to neutral. We were sitting at 52 at the open, 53 here at the close, which means there is a push pull happening between the bulls and the bears. And as we look here a little bit closer, we note that we have a doji on the daily, which means indecision, which means that we pushed up roughly as much higher as we did lower. There is a little bit for us to go through today. So if you wouldn't mind, please and thank you, smashing that thumbs up as we're getting started. I would greatly appreciate that. So let's get a couple of news pieces out of the way. Then we're going to come back and have a look at some charts because I think there is some very interesting price action right now. Notably, just at a high level, that we found sellers where we would expect them to at the downtrend on the downline. Where do we find buyers? Well, right here within $1.01 of last week's low. Why is this so important? Well, it's important because on QQQ, we had that same thing forming here on a monthly time frame where, yeah, they're marginally higher lows within $1 each time, but they actually held. And I think a lot of something that a lot of people might be missing is that some of these big charts, like let's just look here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. RSP crash landing on the 50 and bouncing. This is going to be either support or resistance. And a lot of charts are forming what we call a cup and handle, where it's back testing, trying to find support, retracing part of the move from the beginning of the year. And this looks constructive again, if it can bounce from here. It is a bearish engulfing candle. Let's not get it twisted. Looking here to the Dow, it's back testing the 50 MA. We look here to XLF. It is what? It is back testing the 50 MA. We look here at XLV. It is also what? Back testing the 50 MA on the weekly. So it's like really important what is happening here, whether it's a pot and handle, a cup and handle. A lot of these same charts are really playing out. S&P is getting a big push-pull depending on what QQQ does. So when I look at the chart, and even right now, it's still largely tracking. We look at QQQ, what's the price? It is 275.61 right now. So, oh my God, we're 3 points lower though, Justin. You must be wrong now. Well, again, what we're looking for is evidence. We're looking for a strategy. We're not necessarily looking to make sure we are right all the time. We have to be ready, willing, and able to adapt to the changing environment. And right now, just after Netflix blew out earnings, the stock was up how much right now? Let's have a look here. Stock is currently up by about how much in after hours? 4%. So it faded 10. It rallied up 14. It was up as much as 8. And that is on a big beat for subscribers. So on their new paid, the new pay change, they added 7.6 million versus 4.5 million estimated. And Reed Hastings, who is the current CEO, is stepping down. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because Netflix was well known to have a beat based on their whisper. The rest of the trillion-dollar companies are not so clear. So whatever happens tomorrow with Netflix, I believe is going to help set a tone for the rest of the earnings season. But as important as earnings is, we still have to pay attention to the Fed. So when it comes to these stocks, like notably Netflix, are you kind of thinking, well, I kind of knew all along people like to Netflix and chill? That's like kind of what everyone likes to do. So now that it was at a higher high here before I hit record, now we're not. What do we have here? Oh, so we got the W, we got the completion, we got the handle, and now we're right back up here at the highs. We're right here at 330 and after hours, right? We're testing these highs. Why do I bring this up? I bring it up because I think that even me, I'm like, well, I like Netflix going to earnings. I didn't buy it, but I'm like, oh, I kind of knew all along. People like to watch Netflix. How do I know? I like to watch Netflix. So here we are, right? Like, oh, well, I guess it happened. Whatever, time to buy. Netflix is the first one to report. Is it going to be the theme for rest of big tech? I'm not sure. But as of right now, as we're back here to neutral, we could either push back into greed or like QQQ could do what Netflix did, where on a daily time frame, it could do like the W, like we literally just talked about, come back down and form that handle and then just blow it out. Well, let's look at QQQ here. Oh, so it made it to the first cup and handle with the W. Let's actually get a little bit closer so we can see it. I want to make sure that those boomer eyes have the easiest and most sleek chance of looking at this. If you're enjoying the video, please smash a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Please and thank you. All right, moving forward, let's delete everything here, and let's just show that the W is roughly here. I would have liked to have seen us move all the way up to 300, but we're doing it in a stair step is what it looks like. So we take the smaller W. It's now complete. There's our handle. If we can advance from here, it looks constructive. If we don't, we're probably going to come back down and test the lows. I won't be surprised. That's what's probably going to happen. But our Netflix template shows us it can do it. It can advance, and it can make it back to the highs, if not higher. We'll see if it holds in the cash market tomorrow. Notably, with this gap, what does it do? Going back here just to make sure I get my lines back. That's how, like in hindsight, we could be looking at this and saying, well, I kind of knew it all along. Screw it, I'll buy. When only right now you're bearish saying, what did I tell you? I told you so. That's what it sounds like. So am I going to be right? Well, make sure to drop me a comment and tell me what you think. I see the S&P coming down for a crash landing here on its weekly, and it's saved it within $1. If we don't reverse, like, don't get it wrong. Like if we blow the low at roughly 386 and go lower with a reject, I'm going to flip back to Team Bear. Why? Because the trend is going to be broken, but I don't like to short support. That has never worked out well for me. I don't like to short support. And what do I got right now? Man, we're like right on support. We're right here on the June gap, right here what I thought would be weekly support at about 390, and right here on our uptrend, holding our higher low. We don't short that. We short the top. Right now, I want to play the bull side of the tape because that is where I believe there is more opportunity. Team Bear could have had great trades here. My job when I trade, the way that I like to measure success is that if I'm beating the market, and in both my accounts right now, I'm beating the market. So I don't have to be the hot shot calling every trade all the time, right? Gunslinging. No, I just like to show up and make some money. That's my goal. Let's try to understand what happened for the rest of today though, because actually one more thing before I forget. We had VIX expiration today. So if you're wondering what happens on Opex, well, VIX had its monthly expiry today. And what happened? Oh my God, from 21.5 all the way back down to flat, closed up 1%. That's right. This one expires today, expired today. And then SPY, QQQ, SPX, E-mini futures, all those things expire tomorrow. So there's always lots of price action around these. And if we can understand the reason why we actually advanced, this will be a big clue for us. Dow falls more than 100 points on fears the Fed will over-tighten. Okay, that's this morning. What about what Brainerd said, who's the number 2 person at the Fed just after Jerome? And I don't think she was scheduled to speak. We are now in a restrictive territory, probing for sufficiently restrictive level. Boom. That's for the bulls. Fed's Brainerd. The more data we have, the better we will be able to assess. What does that mean? Pause. If you can read between the lines, it says we got to pause to what? To see more data. The more we have, the better we can do. Nice. Let's read a couple more headlines here. There were lots of headlines, by the way. I'm just pulling out the ones that I think are relevant. Brainerd. We downshifted rate hike pace in December to absorb more data. That logic is applicable today, which means the decrease down to a 25 basis point hike. Fed's Brainerd. As we get further into restrictive territory, more two-sided risks, which means what? Pause to digest the data before they make their decision. Now, in an environment where there are risks on both sides, that is the story for me today. It is subtle. It is not super obvious, but I'm hearing what she is trying to say. And we noticed that the labor market, meaning initial jobless claims, came in with a beat today. PMI came in with a B2. That's supposed to be bad for stocks. It wasn't really all that bad today, to be honest. And after Netflix reported, I want to see how the tone is going to get set for the rest of big tech because they got some hurdles ahead of them. Netflix, there was a whisper beat. Most other big tech are not expecting a beat. And notably into tomorrow, one of the most important things for me is going to be watching all these options expiring. Because as we noted, we look here to our overview for roughly the last month of options that have not expired. Tesla still has 19 billion, Amazon 4, Baba 3. There is just so much premium here. So as we look here to the largest contracts, Tesla's puts for 583 million were purchased on the 28th of December when the stock was trading at 112. What's Tesla at now? Tesla's here at 127, which means that the stock was lower than where they bought these. Same thing with this one. Same thing with the other one. We look here to SPX, 3770 and 3900, which tells me that, well, as we're sitting here at about $39.89. It's like right around where they sold them. They're maybe going to get their money back, but then they paid the premium to buy the options. Then we look here to something like QQQ, sold at 273. Where's QQQ right now? 275. Yes, that is right. Now shift down here to looking at Amazon. These were bought at 82. Where's Amazon right now? Amazon is trading at 90 something, 93. So I think that at this point, it is very important for us to be receptive to what we can see in terms of tomorrow. Opex is here. We're going to have the end of day stream for you to take you through for the final hour. If not, please watch the weekend deep dive, which will now be queued up. I wish you all the best of luck into this Friday, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much.